Today's video, I want to show you guys a team that is absolutely genius. Now, with that said, this team is not free to play, low spender, early game friendly whatsoever. This team is not like my typical stuff where it's more accessible. This team is going to be more for the in-game players, the players who are lucky to pull these champions, and the players who have the gear to make this make sense. But nonetheless, I want you guys to watch this video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, comment as well. Just the genius behind this team. Now, if it was me who created this myself, I would not be saying that, but I found it on the Hell Hades optimizer. I saw the team. Now from there, I actually spent several hours, it felt like, last night into today, actually trying to tweak this team. Unfortunately, I wasn't smart enough to go on the test server and use the free resources, and instead I used my resources, which was a bad idea. So I spent a ton of energy, ton of gems, but I finally got this team to work at a very, very high consistency. Check it out right here. You can see 49 out of 50 matches were successful. And I think with a few tweaks, we can make this almost 100%. The issue comes when Rio misses some of her buffs, or debuffs, sorry. So let's watch this team, okay? Watch how the champions play out. It's like just so perfect how everything works. So between the Hell Hades optimizer, seeing the team and seeing how successful it was like 97% over the course of like 200 plus matches. So whoever made this, shout out to you. I don't know who did it because it doesn't say. And then I saw a video from Callus, who is one of the top speedrunning players inside of Raid, and he was using Reaper or Soul Reap on Newt. For a while, I was using Phantom Touch. I was thinking it was going to add some extra damage. I was like, hey, Phantom Touch is great. However, Soul Reaper is so much better because so often you get the boss down because if you know how Newt works, basically he does a triple hitter on his A3 ability, which is 10% max HP each hit. He's getting 3 of those A3s off. I'm going to explain how everything works, but simple math tells you 30% the first time, assuming you're doing max HP hits every single time, 30% the next time, and then 30% the next time. Well, that's 90% of the boss's max HP. That would mean at the end of all this, you're only doing 90% total of the boss's max HP. So from there, you're relying on Giant Slayer procs actually happening, potential War Master procs from other champions, or Rio placing the burn and actually activating that burn as well. Now, if all that happens, fine. Nuke can use the A3 right here and it'll one-shot the boss. However, if Rio misses some of the debuffs, the boss's damage mitigation is higher than if she lands them all. So if you don't know this already, I'm going to go to the boss's screen real quick and explain why Rio is so important for this. So the boss guide, you can see that damage incoming decreases damage incoming from enemy skills by 25% on stages 1 to 5. On stages 16 to 25, it's by 75%. But the innate damage reduction is decreased by 10% for each debuff that the Sand Devil is currently under. So the more debuffs, better. Now, if the Sand Devil is under no debuffs, then Newt is not doing much damage whatsoever. My Newt build is pretty good. So what we have going on here is a team setup that I think is very, very, very smart, okay? So Siphi is opening with the A1. I'm gonna go over the speeds and everything that I've learned to kind of help you guys not have to do as much testing as I did. But Siphi, opening with the A1, places the target to sleep, excellent. Prioritizing the A3, we always want her rezzing when she has opportunity to. Godseeker, opening with the A1, prioritizing the A3, and then number 2 on the A2. Newt is turned off this A2. It just takes too long of animations, honestly. And then we have the A3 being used number 1 priority. Of course, that is the most important skill. Rio, this is very important. This is part of the genius. So we have her opening with the A2, prioritizing the A3 because she gets 2 turns before the Sand Devil kills everybody. And then number 2 on this A2 ability. Because of how Prince Kaimar's resets line up, everything works smoothly. Now, Prince Kaimar, he is set to prioritize the A3. However, say your Kaimar is running really fast. My current Kaimar build is not getting a permanent 1. I'm going to change his build very soon, but currently he is running slower than my Newt. So if I end up having him faster than Newt, say I had him to go first, I would have the Phantom Fire opening up as the very first thing. Technically, you could drop Siphi, use Kaimar only, or use a different sleep champion. However, since it's not a guaranteed like Siphi's is, can't be resisted, then you have the chance of being resisted. You have a chance of it just not placing. You have various different chances, weak hits on Kaimar. So using Kaimar, using champions like, there's a few other champions who play sleep, but using champions like that are going to add some RNG. And also the fact that Siphi places increased speed plus block debuffs is a very big help for later on in the fight. So with all that said, let me jump in here at 1x speed and show you how this all actually works, because it's very, very important about the presets as well as the team positioning. So I went over the presets, but now I want to talk about why the team positioning is so important and how you should do it. So return to 1x speed. Rio is going to be using her A2 here. So she's placing all of her debuffs up. Perfect. Now we have Nuke coming in using that triple hitter. The Sand Devil woke up, but we're still taking a big chunk of his HP. 490,000 is the max HP cap. And now Godseeker's going in with the A1 ability like she's supposed to do. Sify is going to be using her A2, boosting the speed. Rio is using the A2 right there because if she used, the A3, if she used her A2 right there, she wouldn't have it ready after this happens. So here, since Sify is in the lead spot, Godseeker is in Stone Skin, so she's staying alive no matter what. But Sify is in the lead spot. She has enough HP where she's pretty tanky for like any other area that I want to use her. Most importantly, she's going to still die from the Sand Devil. If your Sify is too tanky and she doesn't die, it's going to mess the run up. It's going to make things more complicated. But Godseeker's passive activated, Revival and Death on Sify. Sify came back to life. Now this is very important as well. Godseeker is now going to res Newt because he's the next person in line. We have Sify first, we have Godseeker, and we have Newt. So she's going to res Newt. However, when she does her res, it's going to be with 50% turn meter. So she's going to do the res on Newt. Boom. Not only does it do 50% turn meter, but it also resets his cooldowns. He's using the A3 all the time. He now has a reset cooldown. Sify's res is going to be at 75% turn meter, I think. Full turn meter, okay? Even better. I thought it was 75%, but it's actually a full turn meter. So now when Sify does her res, Rio Bone Spear is coming up with just a slight bit more turn meter than Newt has. So now Rio comes in. Since she didn't use her A2 previously after Kymar reset, she's going to come in, use that A2 ability, place more debuffs onto the Sand Devil. Some were resisted right now. Not great. However, Newt's going to be perfectly fine. Then Newt, since he had his A3 ability reset from Godseeker, is going to be able to come in here, A3, A3, A3. Excellent. So what I'm talking about with the presets, the presets, where I got that done. The champion positioning. This is how it's going. We have Sify in the number 1 spot. Very, very important because whoever's in your lead spot is going to be the champion that Godseeker's passive prioritizes. After that, since Godseeker stays alive the entire time, I want Godseeker, since she's going to be going next, I want her to be rezzing Newt. So I have Newt in the 3rd position. And then Sify is going to be rezzing Rio. Since everybody's dead, the rezzes are going to go Revival and Death on Sify, Godseeker res on Newt, Sify res on Rio. You can see right here that Godseeker is pretty slow, so she's tuned to go once on the boss before the boss takes a turn, I believe it was, and then right after the boss kills everybody, then she gets another turn more or less. So got to make sure the speed tunes are right, got to make sure the speeds are pretty close to what I have them at currently, and it should work very well for you. Now, as far as what I actually have these champions built in currently, my Sify is actually built with, let's see, well, this is actually a different one. I have 2 Sifys. The other one I tried using earlier was right here. This mastery, or this blessing, I think made things a little more complicated. This build didn't work good because she survived too frequently. So no, don't use that build. This build is what's important. So we're going to use recently used champions. So Sify, she is currently at 366 speed. She could be faster. She could be a little bit slower. I don't think that's super important, but just make sure the order of the team is going about how mine is going. So 366 speed, nothing else is super crucial. You can do whatever build you want. I want to get mine into full protection just to try it out. It boosts the champion's damage by 15% for each buff they have, which is pretty cool. For PvP, I'm definitely going to try it out, but for now, this is where she's at. Kymar is missing 2 pieces of gear. Very soon, I'm going to change his build to probably a high resistance build since he does need to be slow. I'm going to adjust his build though. I've been playing around with some more stuff, re-gearing it, but right now he's 228, basically just slower than Newt. As long as he's slower than Newt, slower than Rio, should be perfectly fine. As far as the skills and masteries go, nothing super special, nothing super unique. Same thing with Sify. This is her mastery setup. This is probably more important than Kymar's. I don't think Kymar's is super important because he just has that 1 reset and he's fine from there. As far as Newt's build, this is pretty demanding. So if Rio places decreased defense and weaken, then Newt is pretty easy to hit the max HP. However, if she misses one of those or if she doesn't place all of her debuffs, then it's kind of difficult to hit the enemy max HP. So I have my Newt in Savage Gear plus Perception, which, speaking of, let's see if we can actually ascend this to something decent. I mean, I've been farming a ton of it. We got Resistance, not really what I wanted, and then some HP there. So there we go. It is what it is, but this is his build. We have 249 speed. There's no Sand Devil benefits, unfortunately, but 249 speed. I have good defense. I have 100% crit rate, of course, very good crit damage. We're in Savage plus Perception because I also want him to have some accuracy for things like Hydra, for things like Fire Knight. I still want to be able to place my debuffs or the decreased turn meter, the freeze, whatever it may be for things like Fire Knight. So I do want to keep some accuracy. If you're not worried about Newt in those areas, don't worry about accuracy. Just throw on as much damage as you possibly can. We have some pretty good stuff on it. We have a quad roll banner. Like I've invested some of my better pieces onto Newt. I actually broke down my Helicats build for this. I wish I could roll some speed on that, but ultimately it is what it is. I mean, I got 5-star pieces, so I mean, to be honest, can it really be that good? We got 2 5-star pieces there, 3 5-star pieces, so I guess the potential is quite a bit higher. Well, I already know it is, but for my gear specifically. So his skills, everything's fully booked. We have Soul Reap. Soul Reap is so good at 4% enemy max HP threshold. This is good, but at 8% it'd be even better, and at 14% it's going to be the best because you still can't do more than 10% of the enemy max HP even with Soul Reap. But at 14%, when you do the Soul Reap, it'll still get them down to what, 4% HP left, and you can go from there. But 8%, I'll shoot for this, maybe go to 4-star. I'm not going to buy the 5-star. It's perfectly fine. 4-star extra crit damage, the 8% target HP threshold. It's going to be perfect. As far as masteries, we pick up Giant Slayer. Giant Slayer is fantastic for Newt. I still want to use him in Hydra. I still want to use him in Fire Knight. So Giant Slayer is going to be perfect for all of that, but it also adds a lot of damage to his skills in general. This is his setup though, and so far, big fan of it. Very, very big fan. It's still going to be very usable in many different areas, which is the most important part. Which, speaking of, I'm going to try to do a video on Fire Knight tomorrow. I'm rebuilding my team. We're going to run some for the 3x Savage and see how that goes, so stay tuned for that. But then Rio. This is her build currently. Now, for her, you're really just shooting for accuracy. I think it's 525 that you're needing for Sand Devils on stage 25. Speed, very important, close to 300 if you can get it, but really just past 271 and it should be fine. The most important part is that when Siphi reses her, she actually gets a turn before Newt, because if she's not placing those debuffs before Newt goes, then Newt's not going to be able to do a ton of damage. So 292, I have 100% crit rate because before I was having a little bit of trouble making it consistent, but the Soul Reap, I think, fixed it. So I added some crit rate to her. I'm not going to take it off. It doesn't really matter. This is my Rio build. I'm going to leave it as it is. It's perfectly fine. Really just accuracy and speed from there. Just do whatever you want. She's not even booked. She doesn't have to be booked. So I guess budget-friendly team? I don't know. Maybe a little bit of a stretch to say that. And then I have War Master on her. Basically, any champion who I don't need in a different mastery build, I'm going to try to go for War Master. War Master is going to add a little bit of extra damage, which could be the difference between, 98% and then 96%. If you're running hundreds and hundreds of run of Sand Devils, which if you get pretty late in the game, that's what you should be doing, then that little small difference will make a pretty big difference in the end. In the next champion, we have Godseeker Aniri. So Godseeker, initially I had her just in stone skin gear, didn't really care too much about anything else. Her speed, 213, should be fine for everybody. I think I tried her as low as 200. So 200, 220 should be okay if your speeds are pretty much the same as mine. She is fully booked. This is actually very important because her passive, if the team was to get pretty funky and messed up, she still does proc her passive on Siphi, reses Siphi, and Siphi reses everybody else. So it still works out well in the end. Even if the run goes past those first few turns, it doesn't last the 22 seconds, whatever it may be, this still works out great. So everything's fully booked, perfectly fine. I know a lot of people have their Godseeker Nears fully booked. Now from here, I actually built her with some survivability, because if the run does continue past that initial 2 turns or whatever, you're going to want her to be able to survive through the Sand Devils hits and maybe even 60,000, 70,000 HP. Because the more passive she can proc, the more heal she gets off, the better it's going to be, honestly. The better it's going to be, the smoother the run's going to go. Everything's just going to be much better. You don't got to put your best stone skin gear. I definitely wouldn't. But you don't want to necessarily just throw in useless stuff either. This isn't great for her, but it has HP percentage. This has HP percentage, which is a little bit more sprinkled on top. This has some defense percentage, which since I'm farming this, might as well go ahead and upgrade it. Do I need to do that? No. Is this a great pair of boots? No. But I'm using her, and I'm just going to go ahead and upgrade that as it is. So there we go. That's her build. That's her stats. That's her makeup completely. And then as far as her masteries go, once again, she has War Master. Like I said, War Master on any champion who I need to do extra damage, and I don't need anything specific on. So the RSL Helper breakdown of this, let's see if I can actually show this. I forget how to show it on the full screen version. I guess you guys can see the masteries down there, but here's the builds. These builds should all be accurate. 213 speed, 366 speed, 249, 292, 228. So let me move this from my head, move myself over here. And if you guys need to, just screenshot this. This should get you set up pretty nice. And then those presets, very, very important. Make sure you get those set up as well, because without those presets, the run's just not going to be successful. But 22 seconds, Sand Devil stage 25, 98% consistent, which actually with this video is probably more like 99% consistent. I'm happy with it. So guys, with that said, hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully you can get some Sand Devil farming in during this event. Let me go check how many points I have actually, because it's been a while since I rebuilt my Sand Devil team. If you guys know, I built a Godseeker plus Ninja team that duo Sand Devil stage 24 and with food. So that's a great team. However, the issue that I was having is that I was saving so much energy to do some Sand Devil tomorrow, and then I'd forget to leave it on overnight. I really wouldn't be spending my energy like I should. And having this speed team as something just, hey, we got a Sand Devil tournament going on. I need to kind of rush out some points. It's going to be great. Sometimes I forget to leave my computer on overnight, so it just makes things a little bit weird. So with this, having a speed team as a backup, I like the idea. Like I've done 18,000 points in Sand Devil so far. I need a ton of stuff from Sand Devils. Nowhere close to the global leaderboards at all. Actually, I take that back. I'm actually 26th on the global leaderboard. So obviously you can see that I've been doing a ton of testing on this. Sand Devil is super important, but I am going to go into Fire Knight, start working on this as well. What's my first place? 59.90. So maybe I try to compete with that. I'm going to try to do Fire Knight stage 10 hard. So be on the lookout for that team. But man, I got so much Sand Devils I need to do, so I will be making sure to do that in any future events. I mean, the rewards in top place was kind of nice as well. So with that said, guys, thank you all very much for watching. Hopefully this helps you out. If you want to try a different variation of this team, go for it. I would love to see them. If you have any interesting team builds like this as well, let me know. I was just really impressed about how creative this team was. We have the Kymar reset, giving Newt that extra A3, and then Godseeker resing Newt specifically, dodging the Siffy res. The prioritizing, the organization of champions is just, it's so cool to me. Like seeing that level is the things that honestly, a lot of players, if you're playing casually, you're not going to know this stuff, right? If you're just playing casually, it's going to take you a long time to realize, okay, Godseeker is going to place the passive on Siffy to res her. Siffy's going to come back. She's going to res Newt. She's going to res Rio because Godseeker's going to get a turn. Godseeker's going to res Newt. Newt's going to go after Rio. It's all interesting stuff. I think it's pretty cool. This is what I like in the game the most. So there we go. Sand Devil stage 25. Either way, thank you all very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all in the next one.